I always get Americans tell me, oh, but people in Mexico only make $20 a day. You can get a full meal here for $2. The metro in Mexico City costs 5 pesos, which is like 25 cents. Americans think that everywhere is like the US. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything. And half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor and let's call other people poor. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. At least here in Mexico, we own our things. We own our houses. We own our cars. We're not in debt. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Let me know what you guys think.
I think he's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, perspective is everything. Let me say that one more time for everybody in the nosebleed. Perspective is everything. You see, I do believe that when foreigners, Americans, maybe even people from Europe, more so Americans, when we travel to other countries, I don't believe that we believe that every country is gonna be like America, but maybe to an extent we agree that every country should function like the United States of America with the infrastructure and all of that shit from that perspective. But when we travel to countries like Mexico or, in Southeast Asia and probably countries that are developing, we seem to have an issue, a problem with the infrastructure and the way things is. Let's say, for example, I can speak more so from the perspective of the Philippines, right? Wherein some people may complain about the internet, right? Oh, the internet's not fast enough. The internet's not this. The internet's not that. Oh, it's not like the internet in the United States. Or, oh, the buildings don't look like this, or the way they have things set up like that. You'll see them nitpick and complain. And he's not lying in this video when he says that, it seems that there's a nitpicky complaint about a lot of things when it comes to foreigners traveling to different countries. But perspective is everything, and there is literally nothing wrong with his perspective. And I can say that because when I spend as much time as I did in the Philippines, and you would say that I kind of adapted and developed a lifestyle and a mentality that would somewhat, not all the way, but somewhat emulate that of the local lifestyle, of the local living there, you start to understand how cost of living in many of these foreign countries is far better, far more efficient than what it's like in the United States. Okay, again, let me say this before I get into it. I have absolutely nothing against being an American, right? Black American, whatever fuck you want to call me, right? I love being from the United States. We have to be open when we say we got some things going on, right? We got some challenges that need to be overcome in the United States. And, the majority of those challenges that we face here, more than likely, we're not facing in most of the foreign countries. I'm not gonna say all, but the greater majority of those foreign countries overseas, whether it be South America, Southeast Asia, whatever, we're not really facing those problems. And one of those problems is cost of living, right? So in this particular video, this young man went through the talking point of how some Americans may have the mindset that, Mexico's or people in Mexico getting paid only $20 a day. Oh my God, how can you live off of $20 a day? Kind of the mentality and the energy I was getting. And he was like, yo, man, when the food, a full meal costs you $2 and the metro costs you 25 cents, or, transportation is really cheap in the country, $20 a day may seem like shit to y'all, but we can make do with what we got. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the energy and the vibe. And then he was like, oh, so y'all can talk shit and be like, yo, we make $3,500 in a month over here. Y'all do 20 a day. You do the math on that. Look, 20 a day over 30 days, what, $600 or something to that effect? Something with that. But he broke down how, yeah, you can make $3,500 after taxes, but you got this to pay, 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 this to pay. this to pay and this to pay. Phone bills, rent, rent being the majority of things, just food and then transportation and all of that stuff. So you make all this money, but it seems like it's eaten up by just living, for lack of a better term. Like, in order for you to live and function in a place like the United States, you say your rent's high, food costs is high, and all of this shit, you're pretty much wiped out, right? Your $3,500 turns to basically nothing after you just go through the expenses just to live, right? Your internet, and all of that stuff. Because I don't think too many people can live without internet, myself included. But he was like, yo, yeah, we might make $20 a day, but at the end of the day, if food costs are extremely low for us, $2 for a solid meal, right? 25 cents, 50 cents for transportation and all that stuff, you start to realize, well, damn, yeah, they may not get paid nowhere near as much money as we do in the United States, but damn, why do they seem to be living a better life, figuratively or, from the outside looking in for some, why do they seem to be living a pretty decent life with the wages that they have? All right, now again, it does deal with money mindset and your ability to be able to put away cash, because some people can't really, save. It just depends on the job. But overall, when you see the cost of living and you realize that they could potentially have something left over if the daily wage is $20 off of what they spend, you're like, well, damn, I'm working for X amount and I'm always in the negative at the end of the month because, like you said, man, a larger majority of Americans are in debt. You start to think, well, damn, why wouldn't I take my beautiful American salary if I could and move that shit overseas? You see, now we start to get into a deeper conversation wherein we start to understand why a lot of the digital nomads and the people of that particular lifestyle, or the people that work remote, are choosing to live overseas, right? There's a gentleman that I follow on YouTube. I think he set up shop in Bali, Indonesia. You see a lot of guys that have set up a digital marketing or, digital nomadic shit, whatever it may be, or remote work. If they can just work from home or work online and shit, they setting up in these foreign countries as well. Because if you don't know, there's a tax credit if you're out of the country, I think for 120 days or more. I wouldn't say tax credit, but I think there's like a deduction you can add to it, something to that effect, if you still earn a salary in the United States or you still make American dollars or something like that. But also cost of living, y'all. If I could see that somebody who lives in Mexico, like my man said, is able to live off of $20 a day, imagine what I could do with $1,000, $1,500, $3,000. I'm just lowballing it because I'm not believing that everybody's making an exorbitant amount of money, overseas, but they could be. Imagine if you could do X amount of money a month, but have those same costs that the local people have. You see, it starts to get a little bit more interesting. Because, yeah, we can sit there and frown down and, talk a lot of best about all the things that we have and all the advantages that we have as, being an American from the United States. But at the same time, can you imagine how much amplified those benefits and advantages could be if we still were able to maintain that same salary and bring it overseas? You see, now the gears start to roll and you start to understand why a lot of guys are choosing to work overseas, right? They're choosing to not necessarily get jobs in these countries, but work in a way that they can take their money or their talents to other countries. Same salary, or at least similar salary that they're making in the United States, spending it overseas, spending it South America, spending it Southeast Asia, right? And I think what this gentleman was saying in this video was spot on. Yo, y'all work hard, but you don't have a left over to really be able to enjoy yourself. The greater majority of people, some of us do, some of us don't. But you can come to a place like Mexico. This is what I'm getting. Come to a place like Mexico. If you still were able to maintain such a salary, the lifestyle that you could live, amplified damn near to the 10th power, right? So I do believe that the next time that you choose to judge a country before visiting said country, or judge a country before you get to understand the ins and outs of it and how the people function and how you yourself could live a good lifestyle over there, I think this is the important reason I should say that I'm all about the immersion of yourself in one's culture, because then you start to say, hey, I don't always have to go to the American establishments to eat, right? I can find me a nice little cantina or a carinderia or something to that effect, or I could, immerse myself in local foods where things aren't actually as expensive as they are if I'm just gonna go jet set to the mall and go to your favorite American restaurant and be done with it and spend X amount too. All right? You start to understand that you can spend kind of like the locals but still maintain that salary, you'll realize just how amplified your life could be. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. I didn't have a salary. I was just a college kid on an allowance. And when I started to adjust myself to my allowance at the time, I started to realize, you mean to tell me that I can spend less than $20 a week on just food and transportation if I play my cards right? Nah, it can't be, right? Then your boy got into a little relationship, and then I realized the wife can just cook for me. I ain't really gotta go out like that. Wifey can tell me how to run this jeepney system. Again, this is my poor days, right? I can learn how to ride the jeepney system where I'm only paying 5 to 10 pesos a stop. I mean, at max 20 pesos, which is 50 cents for me to get from where I lived all the way to downtown. 20 pesos. 50 cent. 50 cent. Okay, now we're cooking. Now again, that was my college days. I do believe that I may not utilize the jeepney system as much as I did before if I do decide to go back sometime soon. But at the same time, you start to understand. You realize where you can not necessarily cut costs, but be more efficient with how you spend your bread, right? Because as many of you guys know, Doc was Mr. Kuripoto, which means I was cheap, right? And I was looking for ways to kind of not necessarily cut costs, but ways to, maximize my funds. And so in this situation, when I hear this man speaking, it's very hard to maximize your funds in the United States as opposed to it is maximizing your funds in countries abroad. Just something I want y'all to stew on. I didn't mean to drag this video out, but I do believe that the greater majority of people can pick up what the good doc is putting down. And if you do, by all means, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below. I want to know how you guys feel. If you feel like, y'all just a bunch of brokies, right? Y'all just broke. Tell me you're broke without telling me you're broke, right? Because all of us in the United States, we living good, we eating good. You motherfuckers gotta travel to a foreign country in order to live your best life. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Comment down below. But if you're like, well, Doc, you know what, I can feel that, right? There's nothing wrong with being able to maximize or utilize whatever money that I'm making, stateside if possible, bring it overseas. And like I said, maximize my funds and take advantage of the opportunities that are given to me as a foreign man in a foreign country. You feel me? If that's how you feel, comment down below, let me know. Man, it's been a good time, man. Y'all take care, y'all stay blessed, man. Doc is out. Peace.